Mark, we've learned a little bit more about what actually took place last night, or the night before, sorry, haven't we?
Yes, Nigel, as we speak, there are active door-to-door inquiries here at a fifth crime scene now. We were aware, of course, of those four crime scenes. Ilkeston Road, where the 19-year-old students Barney Webber and Grace O'Malley Kumar were stabbed to death. Magdala Road, where 65-year-old Ian Coates was stabbed to death. Milton Street, of course, where that van stolen from Ian Coates was used to run down three members of the public. And then further up from Milton Street, about half a mile further up, the point where that van was stopped and the prime suspect arrested. Well, now this is the fifth location, a residential complex for vulnerable homeless people, where residents were wakened at about 5 in the morning by the sound of banging on the windows of that complex, and this man dressed in black trying to get in to the window of one of the rooms there. Resident punched out at this man and he backed off at that point. It was only later that the managers in this residential complex realised that he could be connected to the terrible incidents from earlier that morning, and they contacted the police, and yes, indeed, the police have now linked it. I spoke a little earlier to Jason Derbyshire, a resident here who saw the events unfold, very emotional because he had just really realised how close he and his fellow residents had come to being victims themselves. Knowing what you know now in terms of what's happened, how's that left you feeling?
Scared.
Because without a doubt, people that are here are people with complex needs and quite vulnerable people.
Yeah, they are. Like I say, I've not been here long. Had a marriage breakdown, but this is like a culture shock to me. Really is.
I know, Jason, must be very emotional for you. I can see that because, you know, you've been caught right in the middle of the most horrific of events that you just didn't even know about.
No, of course not. I knew St Anne was bad, but not that bad. You don't expect that on your doorstep, do you? And like I say, when it happened, I didn't even know what he'd done when he'd gone down the road. It's horrendous.
Nigel, as for the suspect here, we're told that he is not cooperating with the detectives trying to piece together the exact sequence of events and trying to establish a motive. At this stage, the Home Secretary confirming that she has not been able to rule out a terrorist motive. That's why counter-terrorism detectives are still lending support to Nottinghamshire police. As for the suspect, we told you last night that he is a West African migrant. We now know that he came to the UK more than a decade ago. We believe that he was living here lawfully, that he has a history of some violent episodes and some mental health concerns. But there is we understand, no criminal record, but still some questions to be asked about this issue and this propensity towards violence and mental health problems. Were the authorities alerted to that, Nigel?
Help me. If he has a history of violence, how could there be no criminal record? It doesn't add up to me.
Well, it's always possible. People do have a history of violence and perhaps police investigate but don't prosecute. Perhaps police prosecute but that prosecution was not successful. Perhaps the violence doesn't cross the threshold. The complainer might withdraw the complaint. There's all kinds of reasons why someone can have a history of violence potentially, but it's not gone as far as a prosecution and a criminal record.
Well, Mark, thank you again. Great reporting from Nottingham. From what I can see, the police here have dropped the ball.